The guests thought the bride had cold feet. The groom thought she'd stopped loving him. But when the truth came out, everyone in that church realized her disappearance wasn't an act of betrayal. It was the greatest sacrifice she had ever made. Before we continue, here's a small request. If you're enjoying this story, please like, follow, and subscribe to stay connected and never miss a new story. The bride ran away minutes before the wedding. The truth was unexpected. Emily Carter stood behind the white wooden doors of St. Matthew's Church in a peaceful town in Vermont, gently adjusting the lace sleeves of her wedding gown while trying to calm the storm of emotions inside her heart. Outside, nearly 200 guests filled the church with excitement and joyful conversations. Fresh white roses decorated every aisle. Soft music echoed through the hall, and sunlight streamed through the stained glass windows, making the entire church glow with warmth. At the altar stood Daniel Brooks, the man she had loved for 5 years, smiling nervously as he waited for the woman he believed would soon become his wife. Their journey had not been easy. They had met during a community volunteer program, fallen in love through years of friendship, overcome financial struggles, supported each other's careers, and patiently planned every detail of this wedding. Family members often called them the perfect couple because they had always faced life's challenges together. Emily's father proudly greeted guests while secretly wiping away tears of happiness, and her best friends laughed as they made final adjustments to her veil. Everything seemed absolutely perfect. Then, just minutes before the ceremony began, Emily's phone vibrated inside the bouquet she was holding. At first, she smiled, assuming it was another congratulatory message. But when she looked at the screen, her smile disappeared instantly. The text came from an unknown number. "If you're really Emily Carter, come to Mercy Hospital immediately. Your sister, Lily, has collapsed. She has only one request: to see you before it's too late." Emily felt the blood drain from her face. Her younger sister had disappeared nearly 7 years earlier after struggling with severe addiction. Despite endless searches, police reports, and countless sleepless nights, no one had known where Lily had gone. Emily had never stopped praying for her safety, even after everyone else had slowly accepted that she might never return. Standing there in her wedding dress, Emily felt torn between the happiest day of her life and the possibility of losing her sister forever. She desperately tried calling the number, but no one answered. Her heart pounded faster with every passing second. Without telling anyone, she quietly slipped through the church's side entrance, climbed into her car, and drove toward Mercy Hospital, her wedding dress flowing across the passenger seat as tears blurred her vision. Back inside the church, confusion quickly spread. The wedding music stopped. Guests exchanged worried glances, and whispers filled the room. Daniel waited several minutes before realizing something was terribly wrong. Bridesmaids searched every hallway, restroom, and dressing room, but Emily had completely disappeared. Some guests immediately assumed she had panicked and run away because she no longer wanted to get married. Others blamed wedding stress or secret doubts about the relationship. Within an hour, someone posted the story online, and photos of the empty altar began spreading across social media. Headlines labeled Emily, the runaway bride, while strangers who knew nothing about her filled the internet with cruel comments and harsh judgments. Local reporters even gathered outside the church, eager to cover the shocking story. Daniel sat alone in the empty reception hall, staring at the untouched wedding cake, the beautifully decorated dance floor, and the hundreds of flowers that had been arranged for a celebration that never happened. His family urged him to forget Emily forever, convinced she had humiliated him on purpose. Although heartbroken and confused, Daniel couldn't believe the woman he loved would leave without a reason. Deep inside, he felt there had to be an explanation. Meanwhile, Emily rushed through the hospital corridors until a nurse led her into a quiet room. There, lying on a hospital bed surrounded by softly beeping machines, was Lily. She looked thin, weak, and exhausted, but the moment she saw Emily, tears filled her eyes. The sisters embraced tightly, crying without saying a single word for several minutes. Lily finally confessed that she had left years ago because she believed her addiction was destroying the family. She couldn't bear watching Emily give up her own dreams to keep saving her, so she disappeared hoping everyone could move on and live happier lives. Recently, doctors had diagnosed her with advanced heart failure, leaving her with very little time. She had spent months trying to find Emily, but only managed to contact a compassionate nurse who agreed to send the message on her behalf. Lily whispered through tears, "I couldn't leave this world without telling you that I never stopped loving you. You were always the best sister anyone could ever ask for." Emily held her hand for hours as they shared childhood memories, laughed through old stories, cried over lost years, and finally forgave each other. Lily apologized for every painful memory she had caused, while Emily promised that no matter what had happened, she had never stopped loving her. As the evening sun faded outside the hospital window, Lily peacefully took her final breath with Emily holding her hand, whispering that she was finally home. Emily stayed beside her until late that night, unable to accept that she had found her sister only to lose her again a few hours later. The next morning, still wearing her wrinkled wedding dress beneath a borrowed coat, Emily stood outside Daniel's apartment, terrified that she had already lost the man she loved. Without speaking, she handed him Lily's hospital bracelet, medical reports, and a handwritten letter her sister had asked her to deliver. Daniel silently read every page. In the letter, Lily explained everything. How Emily had always sacrificed her own happiness for the people she loved, how she had never given up hope of finding her sister, and how she had rushed to the hospital not because she wanted to escape marriage, but because she couldn't ignore someone she loved during their final moments. Tears rolled down Daniel's face as he finished reading. He realized Emily hadn't run away from him. She had run towards someone who desperately needed her one last time. Instead of anger, he pulled her into a long embrace. And for the first time since the wedding day, neither of them felt the need to explain anything. Weeks later, after the truth became public, the same people who had criticized Emily began apologizing. The local newspaper published her story under the headline, "A Bride Who Chose Love Twice." The story inspired thousands of people across the country, reminding them that appearances can be deceiving and that kindness often hides behind decisions the world is too quick to judge. A few weeks later, Daniel surprised Emily by taking her back to the same church. This time there were no grand decorations, no crowded guest list, and no expensive reception. Only their closest family, a quiet ceremony, and a bouquet of white lilies placed beside the altar in loving memory of Lily. As Emily slowly walked down the aisle once again, Daniel smiled through tears, knowing that the woman approaching him had already proven the depth of her heart long before she ever had the chance to say, "I do." Never judge someone's actions without knowing their story. Sometimes what looks like betrayal is actually an act of love, sacrifice, and compassion that few people are strong enough to make. Some moments in life can be postponed, and some dreams can be rebuilt. Weddings can be rescheduled, celebrations can happen another day, and even broken hearts can heal with time. But the chance to stand beside someone you love in their final moments is a gift that never comes twice. Emily didn't choose between love and marriage. She chose compassion when it mattered most. And in the end, Daniel realized that the woman who walked away from the altar was the very same woman whose heart was big enough to never abandon someone in need. Their love became stronger not because everything went according to plan, but because they learned that true love is built on understanding, sacrifice, forgiveness, and the courage to do what is right, even when the whole world misunderstands you. This is the end of the story,